Please be seated. The special guest of honor, Your Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, Grand Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, the Honorable Minister of Defense, Major General B.S. Magashiu, retired, the Chief of Defense Staff, General A.G. Olonisaki, Nigerian Army Medal, the Chief Host, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Yusuf Buratai, Nigerian Army Medal, the Chief of Air Staff, ably represented here by Director of Plans, Nigerian Air Force, Air Vice Marshal E.O. Alade, former Chief of Defense Staff and Chief of Army Staff here present, the Chief of Defense Intelligence, the Director, Army, Ministry of Defense, the Chief of Policy and Plans, Army, Principal Staff Officers from Defense and Services Headquarters here present, the Theater Commander, Operation Lafia Dole, and commanders of various military operations here present, Corps Commanders, General Officer Commanding, heads of Nigerian Army establishment here present, heads of security agencies here present, Your Excellency, Foreign and Nigerian Defense Advisors here present, the National President, Nigerian Army Officers' Wife Association here present, senior officers, both serving and retired, distinguished invited guests, participants, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I am Colonel K.O. Ogunsanya, the Master of Ceremony for today's occasion. On behalf of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tiwa Buratai, officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army, it's my pleasure and honor to welcome you all to Muhammadu Buhari Military Cantonment, Giri, Abuja, venue for the commissioning of Nigerian Army Cyber Warfare Command Main Building, Cyber Operations Center, Nigerian Army Intelligence and Cyber Warfare School, as well as the launching of housing scheme for families of killed in action officers and soldiers. Most especially welcome the special guests of honor, Your Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, Grand Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, for finding time out of your busy schedule to grace this occasion, sir. We are indeed privileged and glad to have you in our midst this morning. The Chief of Army Staff Annual Conference is a yearly event which affords the Nigerian Army strategists and operation commanders the platform to reappraise how the service has fared in the performance of the constitutional roles during the year 2020, and also make projections for the year 2031. The theme of this year's conference is Human Capacity Development in Sustaining Professionalism and Responsiveness of the Nigerian Army in the discharge of its constitutional role. Without much of your time, sir, may I humbly invite the Chief Host, in person of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Yusuf Buratai, to please deliver his welcome address. The Chief of Army Staff, sir.
Your Excellency, the special guest of honor, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, the Honorable Minister of Defense, Major General Bashir Salihi Magashi, the Chief of Defense Staff, representative of the Chief of Air Staff, former Chiefs of Defense Staff and Army and Chiefs of Army Staff here present, the Chief of Policy and Plans, Army, the Chief of Defense Intelligence, heads of security and paramilitary agencies here present, the Commander, Multinational Joint Task Force, and other commanders here present, the principal staff officers from the Defense and Services Headquarters, co-commanders, general officers, Commandant, Nigerian Army Defense Academy, the Vice Chancellor, Nigerian Army University, the Commander Tradoc, Director General DICON, Commandants of Tri-Service and Nigerian Army institutions here present, Director, Army, Ministry of Defense, Directors and Deputy Directors at the Defense and the Services Headquarters, very senior officers, the National President of Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association, my dear wife, distinguished invited guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed my pleasure to, on behalf of officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army, heartily and most respectfully welcome Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, and all other distinguished personalities here with us today. We are indeed most grateful for honoring us with your esteemed presence at this opening ceremony of the Chief of Army Staff's Annual Conference, year 2020. Today's event marks the 6th in the series of annual conferences since the advent of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. Going down memory lane, it is worthwhile to recall the state of affairs in the Nigerian Army in early 2015, which was characterized by low morale arising from persistent setbacks in the counterinsurgency operations in the Northeast. Mr. President's charge on my assumption of duty was to evolve a professional and highly motivated Nigerian Army capable of conducting the full spectrum of military operations in a decisive manner. This has been largely achieved with Nigerian Army currently well poised to tackle myriad of contemporary and emerging security threats. While this year has been quite challenging due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which disrupted many of our activities, I am happy to note that my strategic directive for the year 2020, which is to sustain professionalism and responsiveness of Nigerian Army in the discharge of its constitutional roles, provided a point of reference which enabled us to adapt quickly with minimal impact on our operations. Within the period under review, the Nigerian Army embarked on massive infrastructural development, undertook further force restructuring, conducted several local and overseas training, carried out various operations, as well as optimized logistics and its support elements, amongst others. Worthy of mention is the new 4th Special Forces Command, which has carried out impactful operations across the North Central region since its inception. We have also evolved seamless administrative measures and improved tremendously on welfare packages as approved by Mr. President to boost the morale of troops across the nation. Additionally, we have intensified our civil-military relations efforts and imbibed the best global practices in the conduct of our operations in line with the principles of laws of armed conflict, as well as promotion and respect for fundamental human rights. This was most evident in the professional conduct of troops during Operation Peel Shield, while in support of civil authorities during the large-scale criminality that ensued in the wake of the EndSARS protest. In the bid to enhance our overall performance, attempts will be made throughout this week to evaluate and appraise our activities and efforts so far towards achieving the overall objective of better positioning the Nigerian Army to face the tasks ahead in the year 2021 and beyond. As a responsive army, we are delighted to showcase to Mr. President our latest effort at in placing the requisite capability for full spectrum operations, particularly in the cyber domain. Mr. President, sir, we are indeed honored and delighted to have you in our midst to commission the headquarters Nigerian Army Cyber Warfare Command Complex. The command is a child of necessity, born out of our experiences in counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency operations in the last 5 years. I am happy to state that the command, since its establishment in 2017, has played a crucial role, albeit silent role, in all our operations. It is expected that the new complex, with upscaled capabilities, will therefore lead to further operational successes. Mr. President, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with a high sense of responsibility and respect that I once again humbly express the Nigerian Army's profound gratitude to Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, for his invaluable support to the Nigerian Army. On behalf of officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army, I once more want to humbly reassure Mr. President of our unalloyed loyalty and pledge our total commitment to the defense of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. On this note, I welcome Mr. President and other dignitaries to this opening ceremony of the Chief of Army Staff's Annual Conference 2020. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much, sir. May we please give the Chief of Army Staff another round of applause, please. Your Excellency, the special guest of honor, sir, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are now in Serial 14 of today's program, which is the remark by the Honorable Minister of Defense. May I have the honor to humbly request the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tiwa Brata, to please invite the Honorable Minister of Defense, in person of Major General B.S. Magashi, retired, Grand Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, to make his remark. The Chief of Army Staff, sir.
Yes, sir. The special guest of honor, His Excellency, the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, the Chairman, State Committee on Army, Chairman of House Committee on Army, other members of the National Assembly here present, the Honorable Minister of Federal Capital Territory, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, ably represented, former Chiefs of Defense Staff and the Army Staff here present, the Chief of Policy and Plans Army, the Chief of Defense Intelligence Agency, heads of security and paramilitary agencies here present, Commander, Multinational Joint Task Force, and other commanders of the various military operations, principal staff officers, co-commanders, general officer commanding, commandant, Nigerian Army Defense Academy, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, brigade commanders, and other commanders here present. senior military officers, both serving and retired, the Vice Chancellor, Nigerian Army University View, and other members of academia, distinguished invited guests, ladies, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I am most delighted to be in your midst here today. For the opening ceremony of the 2020 Chief of Army Staff Annual Conference. As you all know, the Chief of Army Staff Annual Conference is an avenue to reassess the preparedness and review the operational readiness of the Nigerian armies to tackle the numerous security threats across the country. We are not unmindful of the present economic challenges that we are grappling with as a nation, as well as the needs of other critical sectors of our national life. It is against this backdrop that I want to assure Mr. President that the Ministry of Defense, under my leadership, has in place measures to ensure judicious use of resources allocated to us. The year 2020 has been a challenging one. While the COVID-19 pandemic caused major disruption globally, the security challenges that threaten the safety and security of lives and property in our country still persist. During the year, we continue to witness incidences of violence and criminality arising from Boko Haram insurgency in that we have a peaceful country. The Ministry of Defense will continue to work hard with the services to ensure that the welfare of the families of the deceased personnel and all veterans is accorded a higher priority. Before I end my remarks, I wish once again appreciate Mr. President for his commitment towards ensuring that lasting peace and security is restored in this country. I also urge the Chief of Defense Staff and Service Chief not to relent in steering the ship of our various services towards the accomplishment of the assigned role. Lastly, I wish you a successful deliberation during the training week. Thank you all, and God bless.
In the League of Internationally Renowned Armies, in the cyberspace, the Chief of Army Staff established the Nigerian Army Cyber Warfare Command, NACWC, in 2018.
The Nigerian Army Cyber Warfare Command was established in October 2018 by the Army Staff Lieutenant General Chukwuisu Pradai. This followed the realization that after land, sea, air, and space, cyberspace is the fifth domain of warfare. At the inception, the command was equipped with the latest and best systems, tools, and software, and manned by proper.
So much within a short period. It is worthy of note that with strategic directives from the Chief of Army Staff, the Nigerian Army Situation Room played very significant roles in providing a platform for real-time monitoring of field operations and passing needed information to field commanders during the 2019 general elections. To give the NACWC the much-needed impetus to accomplish its mandates, the Chief of Army Staff graciously approved the proposal by the Pioneer Commander, Nigerian Army Cyber Warfare Command, Brigadier General Thomas Nnohua, for the command headquarters complex, which will include a leading player in the cyberspace in Africa and the world.
Your Excellency, the special guest of honor, sir, it is now time for the special guest of honor to make his remark. May I have the honor and privilege to humbly invite Your Excellency, the special guest of honor, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, Grand Commander.
With you virtually towards today at the opening ceremony of the Chief of Army Staff Annual Conference 2020. I am aware that the purpose of this conference is to appraise the activities of the Nigerian Army in the year 2020 and make projections for next year. This conference also provides an avenue for the leadership of the Army to reassess its preparedness and operational readiness in case cause wanton damage to lives and property in many cities across the country. I want to reiterate our government's commitment to the rights of citizens to embark on peaceful protests. However, this must be done responsibly and in accordance with the laws of the land. I also wish to state that any act of hooliganism behind lawful and peaceful protests will be dealt with decisively to ensure the peace and stability of our nation. On this note of the exercise, I have also been briefed about the tremendous successes that have been achieved by troops during the ongoing Operation Fireball in the Northeast. I charge you all to sustain these efforts until the full restoration of peace and security in the nation is achieved. During the period under review, I have followed with keen interest the Army's efforts at capacity building as exemplified in the numerous seminars, workshops, and field exercises conducted in 2020. I have also been kept duly informed of the Army's focus on revamping the existing training institutions towards the enhanced capacity building of its personnel. This underscores the choice of the theme that has been embarked upon in recent times by the leadership of the Army has shown good utilization of scarce national resources. I equally commend all efforts towards bringing succor to families of all our fallen heroes who paid the supreme sacrifice in our fight against insurgency and other forms of crimes across the country. This administration will not relent in its efforts to take adequate care of families and loved ones left behind by those who sacrificed their lives and friends. As we pray for the repose of their souls, we must strengthen our collective resolve to address those issues that will make every part of our country a safe and secure place to live and carry out our normal businesses. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to formally declare the Chief of Army Staff Annual Conference 2020 open. May I use this opportunity to also launch the housing scheme for next of kin.
Honorable Minister of Defense, sir, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are now on Serial 19 of today's program, which is the presentation of brochure of housing scheme for families of killed in action officers and soldiers, and souvenirs, and also cut the ceremonial tape on behalf of Mr. President. On this note, may I humbly request the Chief of Army Staff, the presentation of souvenirs to the special guest of honor, it will be received by the Honorable Minister of Defense. The video clips, please.
Lieutenant General T.Y. Boratai in tribute to our fallen heroes, to enable the widows of fallen heroes to own a dwelling of their own in the face of the protracted challenges of the housing market. The estate initiated by Lieutenant General T.Y. Boratai provides the appropriate blending for all aspects of interactive human activities, which includes residentials and commercial, educational, institutional, and recreational, including services. The housing scheme will be located within the fast-rising destinations around the country. Housing type: 4-bedroom detached bungalow, 3-bedroom bungalow, 2-bedroom terrace apartment. Every house you reach emphasizes on the person.
Invite the Honorable Minister of Defense, Major General B.S. Magashi, retired, Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, to unveil the commissioning plaque and also cut the ceremonial tape of the headquarters Nigerian Army Cyber Warfare Command Complex on behalf of Mr. President, the Chief of Army Staff, sir. Authorized dignitaries, we enter the building. The rest are expected to remain seated here. Thank you very much, sir.
will be relocated to Maiduguri and remain until Boko Haram is completely subdued.
This was followed swiftly with the practical move for change to rejig the narrative. Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, then a Major General, was appointed Chief of Army Staff in 2015 with the sole mandate to reinvigorate and lead the Nigerian Army to victory in its campaign against insecurity in the country. What did he mean?
Prior to having visualized also what is likely to be done to address the situation, the first thing I did was to have a vision statement for us to see how we can transform the whole scenario to change how our officers conduct themselves in terms of the areas of training, in terms of that's to do with professionalism, and